Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not cleaning the toilet my husband blew up? I'm writing this because I'm standing my ground based on principle but not sure I'm totally right. So my husband and I have separate chores that we've taken on in our relationship, and part of mine has always been cleaning the bathrooms. He's never picked up a toilet brush in his life, and I'm usually perfectly fine with doing my part. I cleaned it before we left for dinner tonight and all was well. After dinner, something didn't agree with him and he spent a good 30 minutes in the bathroom, although I could hear him in there playing on his phone for a while. Later, when I went to use it myself, I found that it was destroyed in a way I'm struggling to describe. Dried crap was splattered all over the bowl, all over the bottom of the seat. It was bad, like I actually gagged. And I had just cleaned it before we left, so I was especially pissed that he'd made no effort to correct the situation. When I told him I was grossed out, he pretended that he didn't know he'd left it that way, which didn't make sense because he has eyes. I said that he needs to clean it. No way am I doing it, especially since I'd just done it hours before. He said so what, I'd just done it, that bathroom is my job. He then said that he'd just bought me dinner, and me refusing to clean up his mess made me ungrateful, although he's just come back from a 3-week vacation and I took care of our 2 kids by myself and the dinner was supposed to be a thank you for that. Things escalated and ended by him shouting, "If you don't clean it, that will show me who you really are," and I don't even know what that means. All I know is I feel like if the situation were reversed, I wouldn't have left such a mess for him and told him it's his problem to deal with. So am I the a-hole for not doing a chore I would normally do because of this specific situation? I acknowledge that this is normally my job, but I feel like this is not a normal situation. Him shouting, "If you don't clean it, that will show me who you really are." He's completely correct about that. This will show him whether you're the sort of person who's prepared to put up with his completely unreasonable hit, or not. Show him you're not. Edit, I should add for the sake of formality, that you are not the a-hole. I think we're all pretty clear on that. This is the line that separates doing agreed upon chores for a partner who respects you, and being an unpaid bangmaid. A partner who respects you will put their clothes in the hamper and their dishes in the sink, and won't leave their trash and dirty clothes strewn about the house. They don't make your chores harder for you. They know the person they love is doing these chores, so they will be respectful of the house. If he drops a pot of spaghetti on the floor, is he just gonna leave it there because it is OP's job to clean? Because any decent human being who drops a pot of spaghetti on the floor is gonna think, "Oh crap, my bad, I will clean this up because it is my fault there is a giant mess here." This is the same situation but worse, because he is the one who could not aim his butthole properly, probably distracted, hunched over his phone, and made a giant mess of his own crap, and anyone whose go-to thought when told they made a giant crap mess is, "Well, technically my wife cleans the bathroom, so she needs to do it," is not someone who respects their partner at all. Correct. The only time a partner should have to do this is if the other person is legitimately too sick to handle the chore. My husband has thoughtfully cleaned the toilet when I hurled all over the place with stomach flu, because I obviously wasn't up to the task at the time. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad that if he wanted a son, he should just have one with his wife? My parents are divorced. My younger sister is trans, she is 17. My mom is very supportive. She has transitioned socially and is on hormone blockers. It is insane how much more happier she is now, but dad is not at all supportive. He used the old name and calls her his son. He hates it when she wears feminine clothes. It is pretty upsetting. She loves him. He is her favorite person and she has been trying to win him over. It is hard to watch, honestly. I have been losing all respect I have for him. He can see how much she is hurting and just keeps piling on. I really can't take it anymore. He doesn't care about her at all. She was again trying to convince him, and he said she was his son, and he had always wanted a son. It just pissed me off. She was close to crying, and I ended up yelling that he should just have one with his wife, if he wanted one so badly. It landed really badly. Dad was upset. Stepmom was there and she looked really hurt too. We ended up leaving shortly after. Here is where I am the a-hole. They had been trying to have a child but they couldn't. It was such a cruel thing for me to say. I am such an a-hole for even thinking about such a thing. It was just meant to hurt them. I really regret it. My mom agrees and she thinks I shouldn't have been cruel and should have found another way to stick up for her. Not the a-hole, because it was a momentary lapse while you were being provoked, and you understand you shouldn't have said it. You were desperate to make your dad stop torturing your sister, and reasoning with him wasn't working, so something horrible came out of your mouth, one time. In contrast, your dad has continually and repeatedly decided to make your sister, his own child, miserable over a long period of time. He is the a-hole. And honestly, if he can't have another kid, it's probably for the best. Yikes. This is kind of a difficult one. You're absolutely in the right for defending your sister against cruelty, and you should never regret that. And by the sound of it, your dad kind of deserved a low blow. But this isn't a sub about whether a low blow is justified, despite how often it turns into that. It's about whether someone was an a-hole, and that specific line of attack is kind of a-hole-ish. That aside, from what's provided, it doesn't sound like your stepmom played a part in your dad's abuse of your sister. She just got caught in the crossfire. If you value the relationship with your stepmom, I would strongly recommend speaking with her alone and apologizing, just letting her know that you know it was wrong, and that you don't want to hurt her over your issues with your dad's cruelty to your sister. Everyone sucks here. Considering that OP said in comments that the stepmom consistently dead names the sister and does not stand up for her when their dad goes off, I honestly have no sympathy at all. Not standing up against bigotry is not staying neutral, it's taking their side by allowing it to continue, and the stepmom is actually actively a bigot by dead-naming the sister. Reacting to someone being an a-hole doesn't automatically make you just as much of an a-hole. The implication of "then go get a son" is hurtful in the context of knowing that they have fertility issues, but "I always wanted a son" is an insult to both of his kids. Telling the dad that tells you he wishes he had a different kid, then have one, is absolutely fair game in the heat of the moment. This is an adult bullying children. Holding a child to a higher moral standard than their adult parent, where they should take the high road when one of them is. Hyperbolic, yes, but true in any other context, being actively hate-crimed, in order to not be as much of an a-hole themselves. Not even remotely fair. If he can consistently spew transphobic BS, he can very well take an insult back to something that's sensitive to him. It's utter BS to claim that his fertility issues should be treated with more sensitivity than his child's whole identity. There is a reason that unaliving ratings among trans people, especially trans youth, is terrifyingly high. Not the a-hole. Under normal circumstances I'd agree that was a low blow to say that, but I wouldn't call these normal circumstances. The lower blow is your father knowing how much your sister values him and his opinion and constantly belittling her and her identity. You were provoked into saying this. I doubt it was a premeditated statement. And even if it was, I'd still say not the a-hole, because you're standing up for your sister who has had to stand there and take verbal abuse longer than the maybe 3 seconds it took to make a jab at dad's infertility. I'm so sorry your father is so close-minded, but thank you so much for being a supportive sibling. That was r/am I the a-hole. What do you think of these stories? Do you agree or disagree? Please share your opinions in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I publish new videos daily.